Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here, and happy Beat Saber Update Day. The new update to the rhythm game drops at 11 a.m. Central Time, so either this podcast will be written, recorded, edited, and queued up to publish by then, or it's going to be very, very late. There's like 6 new songs coming to the game, and they are not going to play themselves, I'm just saying. So let's get right to it. It is August 29th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. So, you know how no one on the planet owns a Samsung Galaxy Fold right now? Yeah, well, that hasn't stopped Samsung from planning the sequel, which isn't surprising if I'm totally honest. It's not like you just flip over the buffet table when things don't go your way, unless, of course, you're the manager of the Chicago Cubs, because something has got to change. Anyway, I don't think anyone would be completely shocked if Samsung had taken its folding ball and gone home after the Fold fiasco. But no, not only is Samsung fixing the current Fold, it's already filing patents for the next version. Now, we all know that patents are not products, but still, this is good news if you happen to be a folding screen fan, which I am. Plus, Dutch tech site Let's Go Digital took it up to 11 when it took the blueprints filed with the patents and went ahead and made renders out of them, so we can actually see what this will look like if and when it comes to fruition. Keeping in mind that renders are just rumors with Photoshop, but still, there are 3 images here, and the last 2 are very Samsung Fold-like, meaning they look a lot like the current iteration of the Fold, but with a smaller notch on the open screen. The first model, though, called Model A, looks, well, let's just say it looks interesting. This folder keeps the Fold philosophy of having one small screen on the outside with a larger folding screen on the inside, but this phone seems to be designed to be held in landscape mode, kind of like a PDA rather than a phone. It's a larger screen, and it's closer to a square than the 21:9 aspect ratio of the current Fold. Honestly, the whole thing reminds me of a cigarette case. I'm not really a fan of the design, but that's mostly because I'm having trouble visualizing a solid use case for it. Doesn't mean it doesn't have to exist, and as I've often said before, it's fun to see OEMs trying new things. Whatever the case, unless the first generation Fold, or maybe we should call it the Fold 1.5 or whatever, anyway, whatever the case, unless that Fold falls flat on its face, it seems assured that we'll get a second generation of a device, which is exciting. This is just the beginning, but whether this will be the Fold era or the Fold fad remains to be seen. So with that in mind, it's time to head into the Roundup! The Huawei Mate 30 is on its way, but Google may not be coming along for the ride. According to Google, the Mate 30 is a new device, and therefore it falls under the ban in effect against Huawei. So Google can't provide the license that Huawei needs to ship the device with Google Play services. That could mean that the phone will only ship to China, where Google Play services are like, whatever. Harmony OS, aka Huawei's Plan B, is not ready for phones just yet. Huawei never expected to ship a Harmony OS phone this year, so that appears to not be an option. Huawei will just need to hope that home sales are strong. Tristan had the opportunity to go hands-on with the Fairphone III that we talked about a couple days ago. He's got a great look at what the Fairphone provides, so you should definitely check out the article, link as always in the show notes. My biggest takeaway here is not only is this phone modular and easy repairable, but they encourage you to open the device. The back comes off 2015 style, and the battery comes right out. But not only that, Fairphone includes a screwdriver in the box, so you can take your phone apart, and how cool is that? I mean, it's also potentially a terrible idea, but it's just so bold, I kinda love it. Google looks to move some of its smartphone production facilities from China to Vietnam because winning trade wars is easy. Google is hoping to ship about 8 million smartphones next year, so moving facilities to an area with an experienced, though still cheap workforce in a country that isn't in the midst of a trade war seems like a good idea. It's kind of hard to argue with that. Just like Facebook, Google, and Amazon, Apple screwed up this whole letting people listen to recordings thing. But unlike Facebook, Google, and Amazon, Apple is making it right. It's addressing this uproar directly and making a series of changes designed to protect user privacy, which is admittedly what it should have done in the first place. But John Gruber says that this act of contrition shows that Apple's dedication to user privacy is not, quote, hypocritical or just marketing hype. Personally, I think Apple is very likely at least partially hypocritical, and that most of this isn't necessarily but certainly overemphasized marketing hype. And speaking of Apple, there are two things that I love about Steve Wozniak. First, that he was once played by Olaf the Snowman, and second, that he does not mind taking a dump on Apple, the company he helped found, without giving it a second thought. Yesterday, Woz mused that he wished Apple had broken itself up years ago and let its various divisions spread out all over the place rather than concentrating everything on the giant starship Cupertino. Now, Woz isn't talking about antitrust, but more about Apple having an iron grip on everything. Of course, he also said that big tech is too big these days, so who knows what that dude really means at the end of the day. But I'd just like to say, Woz, keep doing you, brother. DARPA is the scientific playground of a defense department that puts together all manner of toys, and not necessarily all for destruction, but let's face it, a lot of them are. Well, DARPA tweeted out an unusual request saying, quote, "We're interested in identifying university-owned or commercially managed underground urban tunnels and facilities to host research and experimentation." But then followed it up with, quote, "We're asking for responses by August 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time." So, what the is going to happen at 5 o'clock tomorrow? Well, folks, it's been a great run, and I don't just mean for the podcast, I mean for, Earth. And finally, if you grew up in the US and you're as old as I am, which is an admittedly small demographic considering my industry, then you'll remember the Phone First campaigns in the mid-80s-ish. Basically suggesting that before you go someplace, you should call them to make sure that they're open, or that they have what you're looking for, or the people that you're looking to meet haven't already left. Well, now Google is wishing that it had Phone First because the US Justice Department may be blocking an undersea cable for internet connectivity from LA to Hong Kong. The thing is, though, 6,800 of the 8,000 miles of cable have already been laid. The Justice Department is just threatening to not let them turn it on. And putting aside the national security concerns, it's not like traffic won't get there some other way, and I'm not sure that this particular cable makes communications any more vulnerable than they are otherwise. But anyway, isn't this the kind of thing you get approval on, before you send out the ship? Maybe just get it all in writing first and then cast off next time. So that's going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.